Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Free Psychic Readings with Maddie and Debbie. It's just me today. Debbie's not feeling well. She's a little sick, so wish her well. But yes, welcome to the show. It is Mystery Monday. Okay, you must be 18 or older to participate. There is no list. We randomly select. Okay, please do not put any personal information of anybody other than yourself in your comment or in your inquiry, because if we can't put it up on the screen if you have someone else's information. Okay, so no names other than yours. You can put person on my mind, person of interest, person I'm thinking about, significant other, crush, whatever, but don't put their name. And no legal or medical. Okay, please like and subscribe. So very important to like the video, hit the thumbs up. It is the only way the algorithm knows that it was worthwhile, and it will recommend it to other people that way. Okay, and then subscribe to our YouTube channels. That's youtube.com/@Matty Tarot and youtube.com/@PsychicFixes. Okay, so thank you for joining us. It's Mystery Monday. Hi, everybody. I see your comments, so I appreciate you being here. Let's see. Again, it's just me today. Debbie is feeling down, so she's going to be here on Wednesday. Oh, and it's my birthday. It's my birthday later this week. It's my birthday week. Wish me a happy birthday. Hello. This Saturday, but we're going to celebrate on Friday. So I am doing well. Thank you, Carlos. How are you? Hi, Kim. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Kim Lunzer. Hi, Amantha. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Sylvie. Thank you for joining. All right. How's your guys' Monday going? Mine is good so far. Thank you, Karen, for the happy birthday wish. I appreciate that. All right, you guys. You can submit your questions if you would like a reading. Please share the show, okay? Please let others know about our show. We would greatly appreciate it. I'm just going to get this out of the way real quick. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can always scan my QR code. I'm about to show it, and it will take you to my booking site where you will see all the services I offer. I do a lot more than just tarot readings, okay? So here we go. And on the soundtrack, that's Lopra. That's Lowprah, Lopra, a producer, one of my best friends and a very close friend for 16 years now. It's been so long. Very talented. Highly recommend if you like that type of music. All right, so Tammy says, I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at that number. The weather here today was 25. 25? She said nice and sunny too. But not warm. That's funny. 25. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, I'm sure you get used to it. But like, I mean, I run pretty hot. Like I'm always the one that's like, I'm hot. But when I'm cold. And typically when it drops below like 70, I'm like, okay, it's chilly outside. Like we gotta, but 25's crazy. Oh. Thank you for the birthday wishes, you guys. Alrighty, let's see. Well, let's just get this show on the road. It is Mystery Monday, so we're unveiling the mysteries, right? Let's see. Amantha. I'll start with you, Amantha. Can you get a reading? Yes, you can. Yes, you can, of course. What am I feeling drawn to? That's the question. Let's see. Amantha. Amantha, I feel like you've been having some conflict recently. So I'm going to pull out my conflict resolution cards. And we'll get the Tarot de Luz here. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm going to pull out Tarot de Luz. And so, okay, so Tarot de Luz, conflict resolution. We've got the Prism Oracle and the crystal cards. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's going on with you, Amantha. What you need to know. What does Amantha need to know? All right, if you're just joining, please like the show, hit the thumbs up, greatly appreciate it. It's the only way the algorithm knows that it was worthwhile and it will share it with other people. So if you like the show, you want us to grow, then let the algorithm know by hitting the thumbs up. It's just me today. Debbie is not here. She's feeling rather sick. Hoping she feels better soon. I told her I'm sending all of my healing energy and a big hug and good vibes and, you know, all that good stuff. So you send that her way too. Oh, and something new for me recently is, you know, I'm sure you guys know, I always say it on here. I work with dog rescue and, you know, working with rescue dogs very closely, very often. And I decided one of them just stole my heart, and I decided to bring her home. So I don't actually, I'm not actually adopting her, but I am fostering her. So I have my foster puppy here with me. Her name is Opal. Where is she? Is she in here right now? I have her behind me here. Opal! I think she went outside. Opal. Opal. She must be outside. But if she comes up during the show, I will show you guys her. She's adorable. She's a little staffy, which is, you know, it's just a pit bull. But, you know, people don't like that. People don't like that name, pit bull. She's a little pity baby. And she's just so, I just couldn't, I fell in love and I was like, yeah, you're going to have to come home with me. So her name's Opal. It's my birthstone. I didn't name her that, but I was like, okay, you're absolutely melting my heart. You're freaking adorable. And your name's Opal. Yeah, you're coming home. You're coming with me. So, you know, I am spoiling the crap out of her. We went shopping this weekend. She got a bunch of new sweaters and toys and treats and all the good stuff. So, all right, let's see what is going on for Amantha. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. All right. Amantha. Sherry said, or Tammy says, oh my goodness, would love to see her. I'll before the show ends, I'll find her. She's probably in the back. I have the side door open for her so she can go in and out, but she's got all the, like I said, she's got all these new toys and she's just probably out there having fun with them. All right, Amantha, we've got the Queen of Swords, the Three of Pentacles. Temperance. And the Queen of Wands. What you don't see coming at the bottom of the deck, you got the Star. Okay. So, as I suspected, conflict. There's some sort of butting of heads that has been happening recently. This could be in a relationship, a relationship doesn't have to be romantic, right? So this could be in any close relationship, a friendship, a family member, a romantic partner, somebody you're just now getting to know, somebody you've known for a long time. Take what resonates, leave the rest, right? But it looks like what's needed in this moment and in this situation is a firm set of boundaries that you stand on and you hold true. You hold to. Um, Boundaries are so important because, and a lot of people confuse boundaries. So people will, you know, we have this, it's so interesting. We want to be nice, right? So sometimes we don't say something that we feel because we want to be nice. But really, we're doing a disservice not only to ourselves, but to the other person as well. Because it's not nice to withhold information. It's not nice to, uh, you know, make yourself uncomfortable, put yourself in a uncomfortable situation or circumstances. It's not nice to not it's not nice to lie to somebody. And when you really break it down, that's what being nice entails. It involves having to lie. Even if it's just a white lie. You may say like, yeah, that looks great. I love it. When in reality, you don't think it looks that good. And there's nothing wrong with saying, you know, I think you should wear I'm just making a very mild example, but it's like I think you should wear what you want, what makes you feel good. Do you love it? I may not personally wear it, but you know, do you love it? Or if you're really close with the person and you feel like you have that relationship with them where you could be like, no, take that off. It doesn't look good. You know, use discernment, obviously, but you wouldn't want it's like, okay, how do I say this? If you had like boogers in your nose, wouldn't you want someone to tell you? Or would you just want to walk around all day with that in your nose and or until you noticed it? It's like, oh my gosh, I was just like talking to all these people and no one said anything. It's like, oh, they were all just trying to be nice. It's like, well, that wasn't very nice to not tell me, so. And can be this can be found like all over. Like we'll say, oh well, I didn't want to tell him I agreed to go on a date with him because like I was just trying to be nice, and I didn't really want to, and it's like I'm just and so you make yourself uncomfortable, you're putting yourself in and you're leading this person on, making them think they have a chance. I'm not talking about you specifically, Amantha. I'm just talking about the how do you say, the principle of it, of like this idea we have of being nice. I think being nice is extremely unkind, actually. It's fake, it's forced, and I don't like the term being nice, or I was just trying to be nice. It involves too many negative and uncomfortable things that do a disservice to everybody involved. So boundaries, there's a way to be truthful, but also be tactful, right? And you'll meet some people that are like, I just tell the truth. I tell it like it is. And they're like, if people don't like that, they can go shove it. It's like, okay, well, you're also maybe an asshole, you know? So there's no reason you need to be rude, mean, and abrasive just to be a little blunt, or you can be blunt and you can be frank with tact. And so it's just a matter of discernment, again, navigating those experiences. All I'm saying is we don't set boundaries sometimes because we want to be nice. We don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So we allow things and we let things go, and we don't address things that we should be addressing, that we shouldn't be letting go, that we shouldn't be allowing. And then this dynamic builds. And because of that, whenever we're not setting boundaries, we start to feel a level of resentment. We start to have a level of avoidance, whether or not we're aware of it consciously or not. we start to have maybe a little bit of avoidance around something. We find a reason not to, reply to that person. We find a reason to not see them. We say, oh, I can only, I can't that day, and da, da, da. And it's just like this really ridiculous dance that takes place after that, right? So, and that's all because, oh, you're not setting a boundary. And then some people get to a point where they blow up because of this, right? So they get to a point where it's just too overwhelming, the emotions are too high, and they have some explosive episode where they either like get angry, or they just cut the person off and just ghost, and they, or whatever happens. And then some people think that that's a boundary. They're like, I've had it with this, and I've no more of this. Absolutely not. Never do that again. That's not a boundary. That's a hard stop. That's a hard wall. That's a barrier. And a boundary is not a barrier. A boundary is more like a line in the sand that you can draw and you can redraw, and you can maneuver and negotiate it, and make compromise and change it as you would like, based on moving how it moves forward from there. But a boundary allows others to come in and enjoy that space with you, but it's kind of like the parameters of what is expected within that space, right? A barrier blocks others out, and absolutely it disallows. So remember, boundaries, if you are placing, how do you say? If you're telling somebody else what they can and can't do, that's not a boundary. Boundaries are about you. So again, setting a barrier or a hard stop, or telling somebody else what they can and can't do, that's a sign that you have waited too long to set a boundary. You have not communicated effectively, and that you are in a state of overwhelm, and you're trying to do the backtracking cleanup work, right? And it's damaging to relationships. And I'm sure almost every one of you could attest to this, to say that, I've been in a situation where I have had something like that happen. And in the beginning, we were really close and I really liked this person, but it turned into something where I couldn't stand it. And it's like, okay, well, take that as a learning lesson to communicate. Take that as an opportunity to learn how to communicate better, because communication is difficult, but it's so essential. And it's so it can just be transformative and monumental for every relationship in your life, right? Learning how to communicate and navigate your emotions, and work with somebody. Anyway, back to you, Amantha. What I'm saying is, you need to set boundaries. You uh maybe struggle with this a bit. But I mean, what you have to lose is, I mean, it just, you could lose everything by not setting boundaries. You can lose yourself. You could lose sight of your goals and your dreams, and you could lose um, a lot of opportunities by not setting boundaries. So there's a very deep, a very strong message here, that is, you need to learn how to firmly set boundaries and stick to them. Okay. Hold on one second. Give me one moment. Sorry, I'm just cleaning up the chat a bit. There, it looks like there's quite a bit of spam in here. Just give me a moment. I have no idea what these people are talking about. Okay. Anyway, I can't keep up with all of what is happening, so I'm just not going to. We're just going to ignore it. Anyway, Amantha. So it's essential you set boundaries for yourself. Okay, your relationships depend on it. There's a need to work closely with somebody here, and putting in the mutual effort. So if you see that the needle's not moving on their end, and you've communicated effectively, you've you know, made an effort to show, tell your side and also hear theirs, and you see the needle not moving and there's no progress being made, then that is time. That's where you can start to weigh, hey, is this still, a healthy situation for me? Is this still something I want to involve myself in? I do see not only does this bring more harmony into your life, but it also gives you a boost in like self-confidence and the way you look at and value yourself. So that's very promising. I do ultimately see there's hope in the situation, and it's a matter of just working through the kinks. Now, a lot of times people don't understand that you may have to talk about a situation more than once. Not everything gets solved immediately. Not everything is, just a one conversation, simple fix. That person's going to remember everything, and now they're never going to do that thing again, and that dynamic won't ever play out again. That's not realistic. Think about it. When you've wanted to change something about your behavior or something that the way you are, and you've been made aware of it, you want to change it, and there's times where you slip up, and there's times where it takes time to undo the conditioning, the programming, and the patterns that uh, came to, for you to be that way in the first place, right? So think about it, like if there's like a deeply ingrained belief, and you have a set of behaviors that happen because of it, and the way you think in your perspective, right? Well, I don't know how old you are, but let's say you're 30. Well, that's about 20 years of your life it took to build that, right? So it's not going to happen overnight where people just change their behaviors, right? Certain behaviors I think are one and done, like, in my personal opinion, cheating is, it's like, okay, well, we're not even going to go down that road, um but I think, and then disrespect is like one that's like major disrespect, is one that's kind of like, okay, like hard stop, that can't happen again. So I think that's like a one, like, warning type thing. It's like, I won't be talked to that way, so um again, use discernment. Everyone's relationship is different, so you know use discernment in your own, and you get to decide the way yours goes. Okay, but it does look like there's hope here, and you have a light at the end of the tunnel, so you do work through this with somebody. There may be some feelings of rejection that pop up when you do start setting boundaries. Somebody might try to take it personally and feel like you are, but here's the thing: when you lack setting boundaries, and you start to, people are going to sometimes react in a way that makes you feel like you shouldn't have said that. And what they need to realize is that it's not. I'm not taking something away from you. I'm actually finally communicating something that should have never been going on in the first place, that I should have said in the first place. And you take that accountability and that responsibility for the lack of communication and the lack of transparency that happened prior to that. And honestly, anybody that walks out of your life because of this would is not worth keeping in your life anyway. You want to like, so no, nobody who has ever been significant or important that to keep around has ever walked out of my life. So and I think everyone can attest to that as well. So just keep that in mind, Amantha. But let's see. Yeah, it's a great deal of sadness that it brings you to continually kind of take the you feel unheard, and you feel, how do you say, taken advantage of at times. And it causes a lot of disruption. You need to have faith, though, because, like I said, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The more you're able to put your foot down, stand firmly on that, and communicate through these difficult times, the more it harmonizes, evens out, and you come into a sense of balance with this other person. I'm going to pull a conflict resolution card here. The heart of the matter. That's the issue. You're not getting down to the heart of the matter. So it says, let go of the pettiness, address the actual problem underneath the surface. Look deeper, past the ego, past pride, to get to the root of the issue. So the argument that happens when this person does this and this person does that in response, and there's this, dynamic that plays out. That is ego and pride. That's all surface level. It's not actually the issue. When you can get down to, okay, well, that's how this made me feel. This, when you said this or when this happened, I felt this way. And I felt that way because I associate this with this, and I make this connection, and I assign this meaning to this thing. And when you start to get down to the way you feel, your perception, the meaning you assign to things, and how you perceived that entire, what happened for you and your feelings, and why that brought up this reaction and the way you reacted. And you also, at the same time, take accountability for the ways you were wrong. It's a matter of both people cleaning up their side of the street. That's when real progress happens. Because going back and forth and doing that rah, rah, rah is just, I mean, it's a huge waste of time. And it gets to a point where if it gets too far, you're actually having an entire argument about things that didn't even happen. Because this person perceives something this way, this person perceives something this way. You're both mad and now you're going at each other. And at the end of it all, okay, well, that's not what you meant, and that's not what you meant. So this entire argument we just had was not anything, none of it was based in reality. Because there were misunderstandings and misconceptions that were happening, right? So get down to the heart of the matter. Let go of pettiness, address the actual problem underneath the surface. Talk about your feelings and look past the ego and past pride. Okay. It looks like you do figure this out. I wish you the best. I hope this is resonating. I'm going to pull you a crystal card to just close it out. Larimar. Larimar is a mixture of sky and sea energy specifically tuned to women. This stone helps restore a connection with the earth goddess and bestows upon you the energy of the sky and sea. As you meditate, it can help you reach the spiritual plane and even help with angelic connections. Okay. So bless you, Amantha. I wish you the best in your circumstances. Thank you. All righty. I don't, you guys just like ignore the people in the comments that are saying all these crazy things. I have no idea what they're talking about or who they are, but we're just gonna ignore them. Anyway. Who are these people? Anyway, they're saying wild things. Anyway. Honestly, I greatly appreciate the attention, you guys. Thank you so much. It's I'm glad you've chosen my show to come to and give me that traffic. Now, let me find another person to give a reading to, though, because I gotta filter through all these random things and see. Give me a moment. May I please have a general? Okay. Sherry, I'm going to give you a general reading. Sherry. Normally, we have Debbie here as well. And yeah, Emily says, are you able to ban the spammers? I'm trying, but there's so many. I don't know what happened. So, normally Debbie's here to do that while I'm reading, and then I'm here to do that while Debbie's reading, but it's difficult to do it all alone, and you guys just gonna have to bear with me. Let's see. These comments are hilarious, though. You got all that from looking at my face? Like, that's a lot. Okay, I think I got all of them. We'll see. Anyway. Let's go back to Sherry. Sherry. All right, Sherry. May you please have a general reading? Yes, you may. At first, before I was reading before I was like seeing the comments and seeing what people were saying, I was like seeing how many people were in here, and I was like, oh, I love it. But then I saw like it was like just a bunch of people spamming. I was like, oh. Oh well, though. Part of being online, right? There's trolls. Opal can be my moderator. You know what? She needs to learn how to use the computer first. So she's learning. We're gonna teach her. All right, Sherry. Let's see what comes out for you. Got the 10 of Wands, the 8 of Coins, the Page of Cups, and the 3 of Swords. Give me just a second. Joao, or I don't know how to say your name, so I apologize, but Joao, Joao, Firmino. It says, I got my question deleted. If I accidentally banned you or deleted you, in the slew of all the others that were coming through, I greatly apologize. That was obviously not my intention. But if you let me know your previous, if you let me know your previous name that was on there, I can go and undo it. So I am sorry, but you know, there were so many coming through and I was just like, so if I clicked you by accident, I apologize, but let me know what your name was and I will undo the ban, okay? All right, so Sherry, you've got the 10 of rods, or 10 of wands, same thing. The 8 of coins, the Page of Cups, and the 3 of Swords. So I'm getting here that you're feeling quite overwhelmed about something. This has to do with questioning whether or not there's an opportunity that is coming, or where, how do I say, this definitely has to do with something in regard to finances. So it's quite possibly causing tension in the home or in some sort of in some regard. But let's see, I'm gonna pull a couple more cards here. I hear opal. 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 Okay, Sherry. I see that you're done with something. You're done with something. You're wanting to, I don't want to say call it quits, even though that's what's coming to me, but you kind of want to just like pull the plug, throw in the towel, be like, I've this has come full circle, and this is no longer the path I want to take. And maybe that's causing a bit of, I don't think this is external, but internal, like a bit of chaos. So I would say anxiety regarding this. You just kind of are stuck, don't know really what decision to make. You know what you want to do, but you also don't know what exactly like the long-term consequences of that would be. And because of that, you kind of remain in this stagnated energy, right? It looks like, though, what is needed here is a bit of faith. You need to have, okay, so a bit of faith, not only in the process and in your ability, but also trust in your abilities. You need to understand that you got to give yourself you got to give yourself more credit. Um, you know how to handle yourself. You know how to handle your family. You know how to, how do I say? You know how to apply yourself. You know you're capable. And so when sometimes when we need to take a leap of faith or to go in a new direction, it is what's required is the trust. And we may hold back, and we may not even recognize it this way, that we're not trusting in ourselves, but that's ultimately what it boils down to, right? Because if you knew like, oh, whatever's thrown at me at this point, I'm sure I know I'll be able to handle it because check out my track record. I have the appropriate tools under my belt. I know how to apply myself, and I know how to work through challenges, right? And it just looks like you kind of need a little bit of a reminder of that. And this could be in the form of a conversation, in the form of some sort of reassurance, in the form of meditation, however that may come. And understand that the peace and the desires and the opportunities that come along with this new path are right on the horizon at this time. So you may not see them in the moment, during this moment, because maybe some worry that surrounds your thoughts and mind in your mind, but it does look like the calmer waters are on their way to you. Okay, so yeah, look, comfort. So something about your comfort zone, and understand, so we may stop ourselves from doing something or taking a new path or try applying ourselves in a different way because we know what we're comfortable over here, right? But that's unknown. That's a little scary. And due to the lack of trust in ourselves or in our abilities or whatever it may be, we remain in our comfort zone. But here's the thing, that's the most uncomfortable place to stay. Your comfort zone becomes the most uncomfortable place to stay. But the whole time you're tricking yourself thinking like, you know, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm gonna just, stay here. But what do you lose in the process of that? You lose opportunities. You start to have regret, and you start to feel like, oh, I should have done that when I had the chance, or you know, I I really, if I could do things differently, I would. However it shows up for you, but it looks like you're remaining a bit in your comfort zone. And this, again, it doesn't have to necessarily be this like practical, real world application. This could all be in your mental and emotional state of mind. So it could be like a way of thinking um, that you just need to work around, and you don't really go outside of that because it doesn't make sense to you, and you just, again, there's something about a conversation here, or working with another person or others to sort through this. Now, let's see. Hold on. It does look like there's movement that happens. There's a change that comes of this, and you do start to take yourself out of the comfort zone. I always say this: lean into the discomfort gently. Gently lean into the discomfort. You know, let's just say it's a topic, like for example, to make an example, right? I'm not saying this applies to you specifically, but let's just say a topic of conversation is a little uncomfortable. Allow yourself to sit with that feeling without having to correct it, address it, change it. Because the more you do this, the more you're going to be able to face those challenges, to address, to get out of your comfort zone, right? Because a lot of the time we are so used to just going away from anything that's uncomfortable, or any discomfort that we feel, and we just quickly go to what makes us feel better, right? um and we never address those underlying feelings, because there's a reason we feel uncomfortable. There's a reason that that makes us nervous, that makes us anxious. There's a reason that stresses us out. What's under that? What's fueling that? What perception, what thoughts, what emotions are there? So tuning in with your body, turning off the mind and tuning in with your body is so essential, because it will allow you to identify these things in order to address them and ultimately overcome them. It looks like a lot of anxiety. So I don't know if I'm not saying like you're some anxious mess. I'm saying that a lack of action taken due to unknown factors, or stress, or worry, or just kind of like, I don't want to think about that. That's anxiety too. That's all anxiety. Anxiety is just quite literally future worrying, right? We are worried about it could be 5 minutes from now, it could be 1 minute from now, it can be 10 years from now. We are worried about something that has not yet happened, that we, because of our perception of it, of whatever's involved, or whatever the circumstances are, we have now created a scenario in our mind, and we are feeling the emotions, that because our mind doesn't know the difference. Our brain doesn't know the difference between an imagined scenario and an actually one happening, right? So the emotions crop up, and they start to unfold and play out either way. So anxiety is a great um how do I say, a great example of that happening. It's future worrying, and we get ourselves into this state of like panic, or maybe it doesn't go that far for you, but either way you still remain in that comfort zone. um but again, it looks like you're wanting to change that and wanting to overcome that. And you know what? I don't know what exactly this is applying to in your life, but it looks like your journey through this, and the changes you make in this down this road are actually bring a lot of passion into your life. And so that can be like a refueled and renewed or rekindled sense of passion with a person. And that could also mean that it leads you to new passions that you've had a passion for a long time, but you've never gotten a chance to really like explore it, because you were always doing the thing that you thought you had to do in your comfort zone, Your comfort zone is not necessarily what you're passionate about, right? So I do see that there's more room made in your life for what actually fulfills you, and what actually drives you. And when you're in that state of mind, when you're in that um how do you say, inspired state of mind, there's a momentum that builds, and that's a powerful momentum. And the more you can remain in that energy, the more you will be able to be the, the trope of the magician, the creator, right? A creator of your own, world, and what you're attracting, and the things you want and you want to see happen. That's where it happens, in that state of mind, in that energy, right? That inspired state of mind where momentum builds, and you're out of and you're applying yourself, and you're having a sense of fulfillment. I do see this going very well for you. It's subtle, it's gradual, but it starts to build this momentum that turns into a snowballing effect. Um, and like I said, the things you want are just right on the horizon. So be patient. Patience is very important for you right now. That's all I'm getting in your reading. I'm going to pull a crystal card to close it out. Lapis lazuli. You got lapis lazuli. Okay, so balance is what this stone can help with, harmonizing your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical selves. It brings inner peace. When used with meditation, this beautiful stone opens the third eye and allows you to see inside of yourself. You will see the real you. Okay, so I hope that helped, Sherry. And that's all I have for you this evening. Alrighty. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to pick somebody else for a reading. You know what? Prairie winds and wildflowers, spiritual art. I agree. I agree. We create whilst we speak, manifest our thoughts, and project and attract what we feel. That's the power of magic we as humans have on this 3D physical plane. We sometimes forget that. Yes. So true, so true, so true. And that, there's all these like cliche sayings that really just, we've known this for so long. We've known this for so long. And there's these cliche little statements that you hear your entire life that no one really pays in mind to, or puts that much thought into. And until it's like, I always say, you don't know until you know, right? And so it's so interesting. I love it when like a cliche statement makes me, I get to a point in my life with my experiences and I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, I get it now on like a totally deeper, different level. Like, so one example of this, of what you're saying, is perception is reality, right? Like, who hasn't heard that perception is reality? No, quite literally, it is. Because, and here's the reason why. We create whilst we speak, manifest our thoughts, and project and attract what we feel. That's the power, or that's the power of magic we as humans have on this 3D physical plane. It's quite literally that. So the lens in which you see the world, the lens through which you see the world, is quite literally a direct reflection of not only what's internally going on here, but the way you're going to experience the world as well. So, and it's, I know a lot of times, especially when you're in a low place and when you're really like hurting and you've faced a lot of hardship in life, it's really difficult to get into the minds, because there's almost this victimhood, or victim mentality that starts to play out there. And when you feel like, okay, well, I certainly couldn't be attracting all this to myself, and you know am I just a terrible person? Like, why can't I seem to get out of this funk, right? And it's more complex than that. And so I like to always say, it's we do live in an unpredictable space where there's many people all doing this same thing that Prairie Winds is talking about. That everyone is, you know, creating, right? And there are people with bad intentions, and there are things that happen that you didn't deserve, or that you didn't maybe attract, and you just happen to be the person that other person targeted. That does happen. I mean, we live in a space where we have free will, so people sometimes people do bad things, right? And we, you know, we're on the receiving end of that. So I want to say this though. So that's why I always say it this way. You may not, and maybe you did dig the hole you're in, but sometimes you didn't. You may not have dug the hole you're in, not completely at least, but always 100% true across the board. You are responsible for either continuing to lay in it or for crawling out of it. That's on you. No one's coming to save you. I know it would be great. It'd be great if they did, if they were, right? I would love it. Like, there used to be a time in my life where I was like, oh, this isn't fair. And I just, why don't I have this? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have this? Well, you gotta find a way to pick yourself up and to crawl out of that hole, because nobody's gonna come do it for you. That's just the point blank truth of it, and it's so empowering when we're able to. I feel like there's stages of it, right? There's a moment where we understand that and we know, like, okay, I got to do something about this. But then there's actually doing it, right? And when you do it and you start to have the things start to feel more weightless. Things start to the heaviness kind of starts to lift, right? And you stop taking things personally, and that journey is just, it's so tremendously powerful. And I just, all I can say is, just if you're having a hard time, understand that tomorrow's a new day. You don't have to climb the mountain. Put one foot in front of the other and continue forward. Because if you sit, the world's going to keep spinning. And if you sit down and you just say, I don't want to do this, well, the world's not going to stop spinning, and it's going to go right over you, and you're going to get trampled, and it's going to hurt a lot more than just, putting you again. It's a matter of perception. You can either look at this giant mountain, oh, I have to climb this mountain, I have to do all this, I have to be all this. No, just look down at your 2 feet, put one foot in front of the other, and keep going. It, it you will call in the right people to your life. Call in, eh, set boundaries. Clean up your side of the street. Cut the loose ends. It's all a matter of how you are holding true to your own agency and representing yourself, because it's no one else's responsibility to represent you. You have to represent yourself, and you have to discuss how you feel, and you have to apply yourself. Okay. Anyway, Tammy says, still waiting for the puppy. I'm done. Okay, hold on one second. We're going to give me a second. I had somebody else picked. Where did it go? Okay, here it is. Lucky girl, I'm a bit tormented by what happened between me and a friend. We flirted all the time. I didn't like his behavior, so I ended it, but I didn't want to lose what we had. I'm so confused. Okay. It says, usually I feel really good when I walk away. This time is like I've punished myself, yet I totally see him in a new negative light. Well, here's the thing. Sorry, I'm just trying to read if you have any other comments here. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm this person, obviously, you even said it yourself, you put it in quotations, a friend, right? And you have to understand that, like, when the dynamic changes, when the relationship changes, when the dynamic changes, right? And so there's a lot of times people aren't really, if somebody doesn't know themselves and somebody's not in tune with their emotions and somebody's not, really done that deeper dive to know themselves well enough to be able to communicate effectively, to talk about their emotions, to be vulnerable. Um, here, I'll say it this way: when someone's so far away from themselves, how could they ever be close to you? And when a relationship plays out and you have this dynamic where, okay, so friendships can get this way, especially if you guys are really vulnerable with each other, but it sounds like there was more than that here. Um, and when a dynamic plays out where, okay, we've crossed this threshold, right? And now we're in this territory, and that requires more vulnerability and that requires more emotion, right? And then you have a person that avoids that doesn't like that when the feeling of having to be vulnerable, or that some uncomfortable emotion comes up for them, that they run away from it. Well, 9 times out of 10, they're also going to run away from what they perceive the source of that to be, and that is you. Especially when someone doesn't know themselves, they're going to really project that and put that onto you, right? So they're going to say, well, all I know is that I don't feel this way with my other friends, but with this person, I feel this way a lot. And so, and when you don't know yourself and you haven't done that deeper dive, you haven't done that introspective work, then I mean, it just, that's kind of where your line of thinking goes, is like, well, it doesn't happen with my other friends, it happens with you a lot, and I don't like, so you obviously are making me feel this way and I don't like that. So it's really unfortunate, but you need to understand you know what's there's a song by K Michelle called and she's so problematic in her own in like her own way, but so I'm not saying she's like the poster girl for relationships or anything, but I am gonna say this: there's a song called "Can't Raise a Man" by K Michelle, and it's so true. You shouldn't take on the responsibility of trying to teach a person the basics of emotions, of vulnerability, of this, yeah, of uh, you know, how to be a communicative person, right? Like they need to take obviously there's some grace you should give to people, especially, but that's only when the needle's moving, when you see progress, when you see them applying themselves, putting effort, then give grace to those people. But you should not be trying to raise a man. You don't want to be with a person who is so far away from themselves that when they have these emotions pop up, they project them onto you, and then cut you off, or start to treat you differently and be either way. I know you're saying you walked away, but why did you walk away? Because you didn't like his behavior, because you brought up his behavior multiple times, because you said something and nothing, the needle didn't move. So you did the right thing. You might feel confused because you thought maybe you guys had a stronger friendship than that. But again, people will always people like that, without that, they don't have the experience to be able to have the discernment to be able to see what's mine and what's this person's and what's mine, what belongs to me, what emotions belong to me, and what can I take responsibility and accountability for. They don't have the wherewithal to do that. So really, you got to see that it wasn't personal. It was, and that person just hasn't reached the point in their journey to where they can recognize that they shouldn't have put that all on you, or projected that they were projecting. They haven't recognized that yet. That those emotions and feelings they were internal and not a product of external factors. But that's just all I'm getting, like, intuitively. Yeah. So let's get into your cards. Let's see. It says, I walked away because one point I felt disrespected and betrayed. He tried to keep me in his life, covering his actions with lies. He made it worse. Yeah. Yeah. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. But it looks like you did the right thing. Your intuition led you down this path. But see, now that your intuition has led you somewhere, I always say it's so interesting. This voice that comes into in our mind, and we say something, right? And then we start to doubt it. I always say that voice, that one that pops up, and it's like, walk away, or like leave him, or I did the right thing. I shouldn't have to feel guilty. Like, you probably have that pop up here and there, and then you immediately start to go into a very much more drawn out period of time where you're like doubting that, right? Where you're like, I shouldn't have to feel guilty, and I shouldn't feel confused, and I shouldn't feel all these ways, and but then you start to go, well, I do feel that way, and this is because of this, and I thought this, and I thought, and he betrayed, and blah blah blah. You go into it and you start doubting that decision, right? That is your ego. That's your bruised, hurt ego. And I'm sorry that I'm not saying that to sound rude or anything. Like, everybody's first and foremost, everyone's ego is bruised and hurt. That's part of the ego, right? Is like, our job is to transcend that. And the ego doesn't want us to do that. The ego digs in and holds on tightly, and it says, I'm going to take everything personal, and and woe is me, and it shifts blame, and it projects emotions, and it says, I want to stay in this comfort zone, and I don't want to do that. That's the battle we have here in our ascension. And it looks like you made a intuitive decision. You followed your intuition. You did the right thing for yourself, and ultimately for the other person too, because there was an unhealthy dynamic that was taking place. So you did what you need to correct it. And sometimes that involves letting others go. And then their journey's their journey, and the capacity to figure that out, and whether they even figure it out or not, is their journey, not your concern. So first and foremost, understand you did the right thing, but your ego now is like, what the F, right? And this is just a matter of, ultimately, the devil is here. So this is a matter of negative patterns of thinking in regard to the way you view yourself, your self-esteem, and maybe in regard to the way you value yourself. All of those self-limiting beliefs are now flooding in and filling the blanks, right? So you're confused, you don't have all the information, you're now filling in the blanks with all the self-limiting beliefs you already had about yourself. Well, it's obvious that I just wasn't enough. Well, it's obvious that this that this person never cared. Well, it's obvious that they weren't really my friend. Whatever, fill in the blank, right? And we all do this. Understand that is a pre-programmed way of thinking that you've developed over time, and that you need to those are the very patterns of thought you need to break. And you don't have to tell yourself that old tired you don't have to tell yourself that old tired story. I think I wanted him to say, I'm sorry, I have made a mistake and I care about you, so let's repair this. Instead, he reacted like a narcissist. Well, here's the thing. He's not able to say that because, first of all, he doesn't think he needs to be sorry, because he has spent so much time projecting all of his emotions onto you and onto the circumstances around him, that he doesn't have anything that he feels like he needs to take responsibility for. uh that's the issue with these type of people, is that they are so disconnected from themselves. You can't have a relationship with them, because how can you have a relationship with somebody who is disingenuous, who doesn't take accountability, who who shifts blame, who deflects in conversation, who, you know what I mean? Like, so again, when someone's so far away from themselves, how could they ever be close to you? And I know you wanted him to say he's sorry, but here's the thing: you were dealing with somebody who, like, you want to. And I'm not saying this to put anyone down. I'm just gonna say it in a funny way to, like, kind of add some humor. But I'm not, like, trying to insult anyone's intelligence here. It's just for humorous purposes. But you're asking him to read at a reading level up here, but he can't read those words. He doesn't know what it's saying. He doesn't understand. There's no comprehension. So he's down here. And again, I'm not insulting anyone's intelligence. I'm just for that's like a just a visual representation of, like, you're asking him in an emotional intelligence sense to understand concepts and you know the way emotions work and how people talk through those things at a level that's way above where he's at. And in order to get there, you have to have experience in life, and you have to go through the motions. And so, we all, it's so interesting. We don't know a worse pain until we felt a worse pain. Obviously, we can step back and say, obviously, okay, a person burning their cookies and then a person being abused, obviously one's worse than the other, right? But to the person who burned their cookies, who's never experienced anything worse than that, that's the most devastating moment of their life, right? And then the other person who's obviously experienced worse, that's the most devastating moment of their life. So when you really look at it from an outside perspective, everyone's pain threshold is at the maximum. And that is quite literally, it's one of those bittersweet things. It's like it's beautiful in its own way, right? Is that we are all That's why you don't compare struggles. That's why you don't compare your situation to someone else's, and because everyone has their things, and everyone's pain threshold is at the maximum until they've experienced something worse. They don't know anything different. So it's just a matter of, this person was not where you are, and you've recognized that. And instead of taking it personal, because it wasn't personal, I can guarantee you that it wasn't personal. But people that are not aware of themselves don't have that ability to take that accountability and the capacity to lean into that discomfort a bit and have that conversation. Those people will try to make you think it was you. So don't listen to them, though. And let's see. So the star here, this ultimately was meant to happen. What is the situation trying to teach you? What is the world showing you? What is the universe showing you at this time? What message are you supposed to extract from this? Because there's something important here. And understand this. The moment your intuition, right? The priestess here. It has brought out these qualities and behaviors and thoughts that are ultimately affecting you in a negative way, and your self-limiting beliefs, right? So I think that was the thing the universe was trying to show you. It's highlighting your own self-limiting beliefs for you to address them, so you can start to unsew the threads that go way back in the how do I say, and what essentially builds up the way you value yourself and hold yourself and present yourself to the world. So that was the purpose of here, because in order for you to, Nine of Cups, get all the things you desire, Nine of Cups is your wish fulfillment, the things you want coming true, you have to undo the threads, and you have to undo all those self-limiting beliefs, and don't let anyone else tell you who you are, or try to try to paint a picture of who you are. You tell them who you are. You tell them who you are. And when you're in a room, and this is again is a metaphor, but when you're in a room and you're speaking to a person, trying to tell them who you are, and they're misinterpreting you, deliberately misunderstanding you, they're projecting, they're deflecting, they're not listening, you need to shut up. And I'm sorry to say it that way, but you need to stop talking, because you are only doing a disservice to yourself and showing how much you actually devalue yourself at that point. Because when someone shows you who they are, believe them. When someone shows you the type of person they are, believe them. And understand it's not about you, it's about them. People don't do things because of us. They do that. They do things because of them, with what's going on in their world, in their way of thinking, in their perception. It has nothing, it has very little to do with us. I do see this extreme change happening for you, though. This like level of accountability that happens where you take responsibility for where you are, and you kind of, it really shifts you toward getting all the things you desire in life, and you become quite pleased with yourself, not in an egotistical way or a haughty type of way, but like not pride in the sense of like you're prideful, but like you're proud of the journey you took, the decisions you made. You become proud of this moment. Right now, you're not feeling too good about it. That does shift, that does change, okay? This was to show you that what you need to be cautious of moving forward. And you're being asked to remain faithful to the process, because there's this, how do I say it? The magic card is so interesting. It's like, not only does it mean creator, you create your own destiny, right? But I also believe in remaining and trusting the process and remaining faithful. There's some magic that's coming your way, something that you're just like, oh, like I never would have thought that this played out based, based on what happened. I never would have thought that I got here because of it. But that's those are the most pivotal moments in our life. Like, if you look back and you think like, okay, all the lowest moments of your life, right? Well, that started like a brand new shift toward something great, right? Something you're like, when you look back on it, you're like, oh yeah, I would have never had XYZ if ABC didn't happen. So that's, I mean, you're kind of headed down a fork in the road. And I say fork in the road because whether you go this way or this way, eventually we all come back to that road, right? So, um, I really hope this helps. I hope it's resonating. I'm going to pull a crystal card for you to close your reading. Oh, there it is. Angelite. Angelite. Don't know how to say it, but it's pretty, right? Acceptance of situations that can't be changed is extremely difficult. It may be a death or a change in a relationship. Angelite, when used with meditation, helps connect to the true meaning of acceptance. All things happen for a reason. Only the universe knows why. Sure, only the universe knows why, but I can tell you here what this happened because not only was that person incapable of meeting you where you where you require, would like, and expect somebody to be able to meet you. So don't put that on them. Don't be upset at that person for being unable to meet you there. Accept that they were unable to meet you there and wish them the best on their journey, because they're quite literally quite a ways back there and they still have a lot to do and go through, right? So wish them the best, because it's not easy, but at the same time, do what you need to do to protect yourself. Um, and you did that. So just know that you will be rewarded for that. And that's all I have for you this evening. All right, you guys. It's been lovely. I greatly appreciate all of you. I wish I could give everyone that asked for a reading, but I just can't. I randomly select, and there's only, I'd be here forever if I did. But we do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If I didn't get to you this evening, please come back Wednesday. Debbie should be here then. We'll be able to get through more. And again, thank you so much for all of the support. I want to show you Opal because she's here now. So give me just a second. I gotta go grab her. Opal. This is my baby. Say hi, Opal. Hi. So she is about 8 months old and she's just so gorgeous. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her baby. She's got her little sweater on. She's so spoiled. She's very tired right now. She was kind of sleeping, so I'm so sorry. You can go back and lay down again. But I wish I could keep her, but I'm just fostering her right now. So she's available for adoption if you're in the Southern California area or even in surrounding states. Go to dmdr.org/adopt to fill out an application, or you could just go to dmdr.org. That's DMDR, Del Mar Dog Rescue, and check out all of the available and adoptable dogs. And Opal's one of them. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful night. We'll see you on Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And be safe. Have a great night. And see you then. And Debbie should be back at that time as well. All right. Bye.